Greetings. Greetings all. Greetings all. What's up to the birthday queen, the birthday lady over there? Made her another journey around the sun.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you know, look, I was gonna do the thing like, you know, you go to a restaurant, out of the blue, everybody start clapping, but you know, I had to give you that birthday love. So yeah, so we got a great class today. Masternomics, you know why we do it. Everybody has been here before. We do it to elevate our conscious awareness, to take our life to the next level. Mastery, self-mastery, and economics combined, Masternomics, right? So we're talking about you growing internally, growing in every aspect. So self-identity is key. Like Sabrina was saying, self-identity is key, right? It's key to how you view yourself. It's the keys to the kingdom, right? And the kingdom of heaven is where? It's within, right? So you have to know who you are. Very important. As entrepreneurs, knowing who you are is the key. Understanding yourself in relation to the world, and finance is financial literacy. So this is what is not taught in school. This is what is not taught in the education system. And as we went through last week, economics, the true meaning of the word is household management. So take these lessons, apply it to your life in every aspect, and grow your economy, which starts in your household. So that's why we're doing this. So let's get into it. One message. What is it? Oh. Hello, Brittany. Hey, Brittany. All right. All right, everybody. So self-identity, right? Self-identity helps individuals understand their strengths and weaknesses and provides a foundation for personal growth and development. Self-identification also plays a significant role in how individuals perceive themselves in society. So just like we were saying when we got started, self-identity is the key, right? How you see yourself is the key. So I always say, you know, I don't help businesses, I help business owners. Our problems as entrepreneurs is internal, right? Our problems in growing our wealth, making more money, becoming good or better at whatever we're doing is our self-identity. That's the root, right? Within self-identity is self-belief. How you see yourself, right? So all of us are trapped in some level of self-identity. We all identify ourselves in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? Why? Because to have a society, there's rules and there's constructs that were created to govern people, right? It creates organization. But our problem is when we don't move, when we stay there and we only identify with one thing for our whole life. As we get deeper, it's going to have an even greater meaning and understanding, right? So examples of social identity, you got, of course, race, ethnicity, gender and sex, social economic status, sexual orientation, age, religious beliefs, nationality or origin, developmental disabilities, if you had what they say is a disability. So think about that. Look at these aspects. Society, right? Rules and even this construct that was created to go. Volume is up. All right. So, so if you look at that, where do you identify with? What do you identify with? If I say racial, everyone out here, I think it is Black. So, there was a time when we didn't use the term Black. They called us Negro. And guess what? People in that time identified with, I'm a Negro, right? And felt like, well, it's better than being a nigga, I guess, so I'll be a Negro, right? So what happens? Someone teaches you something else and you accept it and you internalize it, and then you identify with that and you say, well, I'm this, right? I'm not African, I'm African American. I'm this or that, right? If it's a religious aspect, you say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm whatever, right? These are things, these are things that we identify ourselves as, right? These are constructs, right? And then we accept them. Once you accept something, it becomes you, right? And so that's why Sabrina was saying, she said, anything after I am, you become. So if I say I am Black, then I identify as a Black person, and anything people attribute to Black, you become. Okay. Now, religiously, I don't know if anybody on here has ever changed their religion, but at one time you might have identified with one religion, then you learned something, or whatever reason, something felt better, and you shifted, and you identify as the next religion. Okay. So all of us identify with something, right? But the problem is, do you control your identification? Or do you just accept somebody's label? That's the problem, okay? Are you consciously aware of what you're identifying with? Because most people are not. We're just unconsciously moving through life, through labels of identity, and we accept them, and then we self-identify, okay? So there's 3 U's. You're that important. There's 3 U's, right? The first U is who you see yourself as. How do you see yourself in life, in society? A couple of people just answered who they were. That's who you see yourself as. And another one is who people see you as. Who do people see you as? If you are an entrepreneur and you shifted and you left a job or you transitioned, some people see you, she got a business, she ain't nothing. I went to school with her. That's the only lens that they see you through. Oh, I went to school with her, she ain't nothing. Or if you was doing something that was bad or whatever, and now you're doing whatever, they're gonna identify you with, oh, man, he used to rob people. That's why he went to prison. He just a criminal. Okay. Now it doesn't matter what people think about you. What matters is what you think about you. Okay. But there is a reality. People see you in a certain way. And then the third you is the real you. The real you. So think about that. If I say the real you, if I ask everybody on here, one level of identification is race. They will say, okay, we're Black, or if you say whatever, however you identify as a melanated person, right? And you might say, well, some will say I'm a man, some will say they're women. Those are other identifications. Well, I live in America, I'm an American. Okay. Now, all of these, everything I just said, from your race to religion to class, they're all based for you being on the planet Earth. But one thing you're gonna die one day. And you won't be physically here on the planet Earth, but will you be in existence? Did you exist before having this physical experience? Well, then the real you is not physical, it's non-physical. So the real you is the spiritual part of you. It's the conscious part, it's the mental part. That's the real you. So understanding that, then you have to understand, if you're here on the physical world, you're here to have experiences and shift. So the way you identify yourself at the age of 19, right, should not be the way you identify yourself at the age of 39. You should have had experiences that shift you and change you, and hopefully they expand your consciousness to get to the real you. See, entrepreneurship is just about that. It's about transformation and experience, okay? So you got to see yourself in different ways. So what causes these identity crises that people have? They say when you get 30, 40, whatever, you have a midlife crisis. Well, what causes that? Certain life events, such as trauma or loss or a new phase of life, can have you questioning your sense of identity and who you really are. So what causes an identity crisis? Trauma, fear, something bad happened. Could be that bill you forgot about just pops up, right? And didn't really just pop up. You just forgot about it, right? But it causes people to shift. And why is that an identity crisis? Because that's what happens then, happens to a lot of people, right? They start to disintegrate. They start to fall apart. And disintegration is the process of losing strength or cohesion, the process of coming to pieces, right? So you start forgetting who you are because of this trauma, this bad experience, because this guy left you, the girl left you, you're going through the divorce, you're going through this or that. When the people on the outside never made who you are anyway. So you forgot who you was. You went through trauma and you start to disintegrate. You either creating or you disintegrate. A lot of times, bad experiences cause people to disintegrate because they forget the real them, which is spiritual. If you know the real part of you is spiritual, then you understand the physical part has to move. It has to go into different aspects of the physical world, right? You got to experience loss and suffering and pain. And as an entrepreneur, what you going to experience? You're going to experience some loss. You're going to experience some time without some money. You're going to experience some trauma, you know, when the top person in your office leaves or quits, or they don't show up, or you counting on somebody and they don't come through, and the business starts to go down or whatever. You will experience that, okay? And it will develop you, and you will start to identify yourself differently than you do now. That happens through transformation, right? So you're either creating or you disintegrate. So we call that an identity shift. So identity shift, the act of moving closer to a higher version of yourself. So what, if you started your business, or you're at the point of you want to start your business, you see where you're at right now, right? You see the results you're getting. You see where you want to be and what you want to get. What has to happen? You have to shift. You have to have an identity shift. You have to identify yourself, not where you are today, but where you want to be, right? So if you're weak, you have to say, I'm strong. If you're poor, you have to say, I'm wealthy, okay? Your identity has to shift. So you have to keep shifting. See, the problem that happens with us in business is most people don't understand they have to constantly keep shifting, right? You have to reinvent yourself. You look at the most massively successful people today, and you look at them, what they were doing 20 years ago, what they did was they shifted, because everything is always moving. You have to shift, right? Your identity shifts. So two of those U's change. How you see yourself in the physical, it changed because you're not there, you're here now. And the way people saw you, then they don't see you now. But one of them is constant, and that's the real you. The real you is formless in form. So if the spiritual part of you has no form, whatever you put it in, it will become. Wherever you put your energy will manifest. So you have to have identity shift. You got to shift, right? If you're struggling financially, you got to shift. You got to stop focusing on 20,000 and 30,000 or 100,000. You got to focus on where you want to be and become it. That's the shift, okay? Your consciousness dictates your identity. What's that mean? Your consciousness dictates your identity, therefore it dictates your reality. Whatever you're conscious of or aware of becomes you, and you identify yourself as that. Okay, so a child identifies as a child, and they move and act as a child. The thing is, if your consciousness doesn't shift or expand, you'll be in a 30-year-old body moving and acting as a child. What do children do? Stick their hand out. Mama, I'm hungry. They demand it, but they just got their hand out. Right? That's what kids do. Right? When you're a child, that's to be expected because your consciousness has not expanded enough. Right? But when you're 30 years old, you shouldn't be putting your hand out. You shouldn't be at the mercy of somebody else. Is my employer going to keep me? Are they going to fire me? Right? We shouldn't be at the mercy of someone. We shouldn't just be waiting for hand. We shouldn't be at the mercy of the government and say, man, I hope they give us this. I hope they give us that. We should not be operating like that. Right? Not if the essence of us is divine and is God. So our consciousness dictates our reality. Now, what is consciousness? Right? Awareness. Whatever you are aware of is going to dictate you. Right? So that means if you don't know any better, you won't do any better. But the sad thing is we are what's called a sentient being. Sentient means a thinking being, the ability to think, right? So we have the ability to think and we have the ability to transform, but most of us are living unconsciously. We're not thinking. We're not thinking thoughts that we hadn't thought before because we're not aware of our surroundings. Most people stay in the same neighborhood, the same city or town, in the same state their whole life. So they can't expand. They don't experience anything else, right? They don't read anything that they never read before, right? And they live their life based off of belief systems. That produces poverty. If you take that mentality into business, you're just going to have a business that's going to fail because you're going to operate it with that same level of thinking, right? So our consciousness has to shift. It has to move, right? So our consciousness dictates our identity, right? If somebody says, I'm poor, they're only conscious of poverty. And people that say they're poor live their life just like the child with their hand out, at the mercy of someone else, at the mercy of someone's, love or compassion. When you see a homeless shelter, next time, if anybody ever, it's really good. When I met Sabrina, she always used to go to the homeless shelters and do the people's hair. And I always thought, man, that's just such a nice thing to do. But I actually talk to homeless people a lot because I try to shift their mindset. But if you talk to them, they identify with poverty, and they only identify with poverty. And a lot of us really identify with poverty too, just on a slightly different level. Because I say, if you could go to the Super Bowl every day consciously, spend your energy and walk and go to get something free, you could take that same energy and create something and get compensation and then take care of yourself. And you won't be at the mercy of someone giving you a handout. You're at his mercy if he feels sorry for you, giving you something. So human beings shouldn't be like a dog and a cat. These cats, they're just outside our house. They just be out there looking, hoping they get something. We shouldn't operate like that. Our consciousness should expand, and we should never identify ourselves with poverty. You're not poor. You're not broke. You're going through challenges. That's what happens. We go through challenges. When you talk to successful people, they say, so-and-so just lost 10 million on that bad deal. You never hear him say, I'm broke. Man, yeah, I'm going through it. Yeah, that deal didn't work out. The movie didn't sell out the way we thought. Yeah, but he still makes movies, or he still does what he does because he's going through a challenge, right? So stop identifying with poverty. We should never do that, right? So how do you expand your consciousness? First thing, you got to self-analyze. To expand your awareness, you can just take that word consciousness and use awareness, whichever one makes you feel good. That means what are you aware of, right? You got to self-analyze. You got to really look at yourself. Say, this is where I'm at. This is the money I make. This is my life. What beliefs are limiting you?
Put it down.
You got to ask yourself these questions. What beliefs are limiting you? Do you believe money is bad? Do you believe money is only for a certain amount of people? Do you believe that you are only entitled to just enough, right? Do you believe you're only worthy of just enough? Do you believe you're only worthy of just this kind of man or this kind of woman, right? These beliefs limit us. They limit us, right? Because to say that is to say that you are only what people see you as. It's not to say that you are the real you that can take on any form. You can take on any form. Look at your habits and your life patterns from another perspective. So look at the things you do from another lens. Look at it through your mother's eyes, your brother's eyes, your enemy's eyes. Look at your patterns through another set of lens, somebody else's eyes. And you're going to find the way you live and the things you do, you'll look at them differently, and then you'll start to shift. You'll start to say, wow, maybe that's why this person reacted that way. Maybe that's why my wife does that. Man, I didn't think about that. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Look at things from different perspectives. It's expanding your consciousness or your awareness. In order to rule somebody, I have to know how you think and how you move. The rulers and the ones who are dictating society study, as they call the little people. They study all humans. They study human reactions and human behaviors, right? Psychologists. They study that. Go in different environments. Go around some people go around some people that you don't identify with. If you're Black, go around some white people that are into money. If you're white, you come around some Black people. Go around people that have a different religion than you. Shift your consciousness. Read something you don't know nothing about. The only way you're ever going to advance is to utilize the gifts you was given. When they say, well, God gave us free will. That's what they say in the churches, but they ain't explaining to you. Free will, you can think, man. It ain't illegal. They're making everything else illegal. They ain't stopped thinking. They can't control it. That's the only thing that you're going to have is your mind. Everything else is temporary. Shoes, your clothes, the house you in. But this, you got that. That's eternal. Go somewhere you've never been. Talk to people, learn, study from someone who you don't identify with. These are the things that shift your mind. This is why the wealthy are always traveling. I'm gonna tell you what I do. Whenever I go a place, I get Ubers. I quit drive. I don't like to drive as much as I used to. I get an Uber. And I'm always excited about the Uber driver because I know I'm gonna meet somebody that's gonna help me shift. Sabrina tell you, I'd be like, man, I wonder who my Uber driver is gonna be. I can tell you, I got great conversations because I'm always learning somebody. The last time, I think it probably was the last time I got an Uber. I was going to New York, yep. And there was a guy, he was from Pakistan. And I'm talking to him and, he's like, hey, this guy wants to talk. So we're talking and we talking about world politics. And I started telling him about stuff I'm doing in Africa. And he's like, wow, this Black guy knows some stuff. And he didn't know I knew nothing about Pakistan. We're talking all about Pakistan, about the Indians and the Muslims and their differences, Pakistan and Indian and this and that. And he said, man, you know what? People got to understand we really are the same. He was like, no, our problem is we don't communicate. He was like, man, I'm just so happy I talked to you. Right. And so that right there shows wherever you go, you can learn something. You can meet some of the most phenomenal people. You can shift your thinking. If you notice, I said I always talk to homeless people. I learn a lot from homeless people. Some of them are so smart and so brilliant, they're just not financially there, but they you can learn all types of other stuff from them. And unfortunately, we can learn how not to be and not to think too. So, you know, all these things expand our consciousness or expand our awareness. Where do my beliefs come from? Why do I believe them? Ask yourself that question. Whatever you believe, if you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I believe this, you know, I believe that, and you ask yourself, why do I believe it? You know, why do I believe that? Why? Who taught me that? Why did that person teach me that? Who taught them? Well, your mind will start to go up a ladder. You start to grow and shift. And you're becoming more aware. Anybody know who Noah Webster is? I can't see everybody, but yeah. A lot of people don't know who Noah Webster is. The language you're speaking is English. Noah Webster is one of the first ones to write Webster's dictionary. Yeah, Noah Webster. We speak in this language, and if I say go to a dictionary, people go to the dictionary. Now they use Google, but back when now, you know, we would go to the dictionary, you go to, and Webster is the guy that wrote the dictionary, right? And so if you look up the word ghost in there, it's going to give you a whole religious connotation, because the guy that gave you the words to use, he had a whole religious belief. And so you took his mind and you just started believing his definitions and terms. Right? That's why when Malcolm X was teaching, we had his awakening. One of the first things he did in prison, he read the whole dictionary. He said, Black, why are we calling ourselves Black? They say Black is evil, bad, this and that. It's like, wow, we're using these words. We don't take the time to say, where did this stuff come from? Where did this belief system come from? Where did these concepts come from? Who told you money is evil? Right? And let's analyze it and study it, right? Because the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. But I like to go deeper than that. And we say the lack of money is the key to much suffering. But if you don't have no money, you're going to be suffering. And if you analyze that statement in the biblical sense came from a man that was in prison. So anybody in prison gonna tell you, yeah, money bag, he's locked up. You want to do your study and research. It was a letter he wrote while he was locked up, telling his friend about money, right? So we have to say, where do our beliefs and concepts come from? What created this identity that you look at in the mirror, right? Because whatever you believe is going to control you. It's going to dictate you. It's going to shape your reality. And most people believe and don't know why to believe. Where's your financial identity? Where do you see yourself in this category? Poor, lower middle class, upper middle class, rich, wealthy? Where do you really see yourself?
Where you see yourself?
I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy. Yeah, I'm wealthy. You know, these are very potent and powerful. Poor, we already know. You know, identifying poor people that identify themselves physically poor are first mentally poor. It's a mindset. All of these are mindsets that play out in the physical world. You study money, you study the economy right now, you'll see this lower, middle, upper, that really doesn't exist. That's being eroded with the economy now. It's really a rich, poor, wealthy aspect. And then when you really study these, you'll say, well, you know, where is this financially? What does that mean? I mean, in dollar sense. You know what poor is? Who really took the time and said, what does that mean in dollars? Who's poor? What does the government say poor is? What does the government say rich is? Anybody on here know the answer to anything? What does the U.S. government say poverty is?
I think it's about 50,000 or 30,000 for a family of 3.
Close.
Very, very. You were almost there. You all right? Yeah, that's close. So the lower class. I gotta look on because I can't see the screen. The way so the lower class you see in economics, 28,000 or less. They say it would say you're lower class. 55,000 to 89,000 is middle class. 149,000 or more is upper class. And in the Obama years, it was 250,000 or more. They would say you're rich. Okay.
These sound like single people numbers.
Now, where do you fit in? That's what you had to ask yourself. You don't have to answer me. This is for us internally. Where do you fit in? Right? What class do you fit in? And then think about what a gallon of milk costs today. And think about how much a gallon of gas costs. Think about what rent is nowadays, right? And we got to make sure that we're not living in poverty. Now, this is the guide for poverty. In 2023, the federal poverty level definition of low income for a single person household is $14,580 annually. If you're below that, you're definitely in poverty. Each additional person in the household adds $5,140 to the total. For example, the poverty guideline is $30,000 per a family of 4. Poverty. So you see how many people are living in poverty? Now I got a tax company. I talk to IRS people. You know what they call people that make 50 and 60,000? The working poor. That's the term that the IRS uses. When I talk to some of the advocates and stuff, they say, well, Mr. Glenn, this guy, these people, the working poor, they're really coming after them tough. I'm like, dang, they just call people working poor, right? Because you're working just to keep a system going.
And those are the so-called good jobs.
Right. Yeah, that's your good jobs, right? Making $50,000, $60,000 or 70 or whatever. But with inflation, it changes fast. Right? So where do you identify? Do you say you're rich? What is rich? It all deals with your management of whatever you got. So the opposite of poor is wealthy. It's not rich. There's a lot of rich people that live and act just like poor people. They just make a lot more money, but they have the same habits of poor people. They don't invest in anything, right? Wealth is about longevity. Wealth is about accumulating over a period of time. You hear people say generational wealth. My grandkids gonna live good. That's because they have invested in a resource and let it cultivate over time. Over time. So when we're always talking about this stuff, we're always talking about you being an investor is how you create wealth. You invest in something that accumulates over a period of time, regardless of the economy. One of the best things to do with that is land and real estate, right? Consciousness. Your first level of consciousness or your awareness of how you identify yourself, the first level, which is the lowest level, is to me. It's a consciousness of to me. It's a victim mindset. When I say that to some people, they say, I ain't no victim. But when I describe and we talk, yeah, you have the actions and the mentality of a victim. The victim mindset says, I would live the life I want and have the things I want, but this happened to me. Remember I say I talk to those homeless people? I hear that. That's all I hear. That's all I ever hear. What happened to me? Yeah, man, you know, I was doing good, but that's happened to me. And I said, well, what happened? I remember you was going over there. Yeah, you know, but they was hating on me at the job, you know. Oh, you and girl, I thought y'all was gonna work out good. Yeah, she ain't believe in me, bro. Something's always happening to the victims, okay? My ex did this to me, right? So-and-so did this to me. That's why I'm in this situation. Now, does that mean that things don't happen to humans and humans, we can't acknowledge that something happened to us? We know things happen. It's called life. It's experiences, right? Once your mindset shifts, you call it a challenge. You call it something that's going to enabling you to grow. The toughest situations produce the greatest of people. But people that dwell in this mindset are victims, and they always remain victims. Why do bad things always happen to me? Some people live in that mindset. And as an entrepreneur, you have to resist that mindset. I mean, get it away from you. If you got those type of people in your company, get away from them. Everybody got excuse. We don't want to hear it. It's time to get some action. We need some stuff done. We ain't got time for excuses. Get the victim mentality out and throw it out. It's over with. It's dead. It's garbage. No victims are gone. Does that mean we deny reality? No, we don't deny reality. We don't deny that, you know, our people was here 400 years in slavery and bondage. But the reality is we here now. Lowest consciousness, victim mentality. 70% of the world lives in a to me mentality, scarcity-minded victim mode. 70% of the planet live like this. Now you understand, how can 1% control all the money? 70% live in a victim mode. Victims are never rewarded. There's no reward naturally in nature. Victims ain't rewarded. The lion ate the little deer, the Bambi. I mean, we don't design these things. It's, you know, the big deer that grew up, he dodged the lion and he lived a good life. He ain't crying about, man, yeah, that lion, you know, that lion got my homie that, he remembers his homie, but he keep going on. The homie want him to live, right? Okay. Victims are dependent. Have you ever seen people or been around people, something always happened to them? What's the first? They always got the hand out. It turns to a dependency. It's always this happened to me, that happened to me. Victims can't do anything but consume. They can't do anything but consume. Consumers. Is it a coincidence? 70% of the planet is consumers? Consumers, meaning they just consume. If you are a consumer and you're in a dependent state, you have no value. This is called harsh economic reality. It has no emotion. It's just numbers, okay? So when you think about us as a people in this country and building and establishing ourselves in this country, and you look at where we're at, we are the #1 consumers. What are we producing? What are you producing that will get you out of just being a consumer? Victims aren't rewarded, consumers aren't rewarded. They just take whatever is given to them. because they're in a dependent state. Do you see the correlation with the mindset and the economic aspect? If you have this same mentality, if you live by this, right? If you're in a dependent state, what are you living by? Mercy. You're living at someone else's mercy. If I could tell you how many people text me, man, are they gonna pass that bill and give us some more money? Are they gonna pass a bill? I mean, I'm not waiting on these people to pass no bill to get no money. I gotta get this on my own. I got arms, legs, feet, I got a brain. What? How about your ancestors turning over in their graves? What? We gotta get out of that, eradicate that mentality. You know? You have to eradicate that thinking.
This for a handout makes you like a homeless person. Somebody's asking.
Yeah. So ask him if that's a question. Right. So yeah. So
David was asking. So asking for a handout makes you like the homeless.
In the sense of dependency. So when you're saying in an economic aspect, yes. So when you think about someone, what we need to survive is food, clothing, and shelter. Right? Now, if you think about the homeless population, they don't control that. So we have to have the mentality of creation as opposed to dependency. Okay. So economic empowerment is about us creating our own economy. Now, doesn't mean don't ask for help. You'd be a fool not to ask for help when you need help, right? But we don't believe in giving a man a fish and he eat for one day. We want to teach you how to fish and you eat for the rest of your life, right? So we're creating sustainability with a consciousness shift. Okay, so it's a mentality that produces all we do is ask for handout. Now, for us as people in this country, for what has happened to us as a people, we know what we deserve, but we realize that, you know, people put you in a bad situation for a reason, and they ain't gonna give you nothing. But what we have to do is, if we change our thinking, we change our circumstances. And this is what Booker T. Washington taught. This is what Marcus Garvey taught. All of the leaders that taught us economics were telling us this. We have to stop asking for handouts and be creators and create our own and create a way for our people so that we don't adopt these characteristics of poverty. If I explain that. Good.
When you give somebody the power to feed you, they also have the power to starve you. And so, you know, like these classes is just about, like, you know, for us to know how to take our power back. And, you know, and so you're giving the example of what the first consciousness is with, you know, the to me. And so how about you give them an example of the type of consciousness they need to be able to have?
So if the first level of consciousness, the lowest level, is to me, means things happen to me. The next level is for me. So when you look at these things happen for me to grow and show forth who I am. Okay, so when these experiences happen to us or we're challenged financially, and I can tell you, I've been there. You know, I slept in my car. I slept in a hotel room, and, you know, when I didn't have a car. I've been in a trailer park, right? All because I forgot who I was when I identified with my circumstance of poverty. And if I identify with that circumstance of poverty, I dwelled in the poverty, right? So the next level is for me. See, now when those things happen, they happen for me to be able to grow to who I am. So the problems and the challenges that we experience are for you to grow. They're not to kill you. The pain is to make you stronger. It's just like lifting weights. So when I do talk to the financially challenged or the homeless, that's what I tell them. They tell me, I said, man, that happened. you got to embrace. You didn't need that person in your life. That was God trying to show you who you was. You should be happy that woman is gone or that man is gone. Don't give them the power saying they did this to you. They ain't God.
David just said, Ella ain't lost it, that listens.
Amen. Exactly. So it's about us shifting our consciousness and getting out of that lowest level of vibration and mentality and getting to the next level. Because in some aspects, we all go through this, right? In some aspects. Okay. So in some aspects, we all experience this, right? We're experiencing this on a daily basis. We're being challenged. And the way we expand our consciousness is doing this. It's building a community. It's working with each other. It's holding each other accountable. It's knowing that this sister got a business, knowing this sister got an event and supporting that event. And the way we support is not with just lip service, it's economics. It's a ticket to be bought by a ticket. This way we create our own economy and we grow. So 70% of the planet live in this mindset. And information is out here, but nobody wants to expand. Nobody wants to shift. People want to dwell in this low vibrational and low level of existence. So that's why we do this. That's why Masternomics exists, to help people get to the next level, to help entrepreneurs who are having the challenges, to show them how to get through the challenges, to give them techniques, to be an asset, right? To be a real support system and not just lip service, to explain how we got here. How do we get out of this? How do I take my business when I'm only making this amount of money and get out of here? How do I leave the job? It sounds good to say, yeah, I don't want to work for nobody, but how do you do it? Because I tell people all the time, don't quit your job and then you need some money and 2 months come back and blame me. And then when you back being a victim again. Yeah, I was good to you. I listened to him and he told me to quit my job. See, I tell people, analyze yourself, where you're at in life, how you can get to the next level. That's what I do. And I have to always analyze myself. She'll tell you. I sit up, I study myself all the time. I'm gonna watch this recording and say, man, I could have said this better. I could have done that better, to get to the next level.
That's true. He, it's like, what it was, one of his mentors, I think that's when you was being mentored by Bob Proctor. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much was like saying, like, you taught me that technique of like, you having a problem, don't look at it as like as you, like, go and sit by yourself and pretend you are somebody you respect, pretend you are your mentor, pretend you are somebody that that you look up to, and pretend you're talking to them and like see and feel what you think they would say to you. And so because you can't solve a problem with the same thinking you used to create the problem. And so therefore you have to go outside of you, kind of what you were saying earlier. It's just like you can't solve it from being you. You got to look at it from a different perspective. And I love when he said, but like, even the perspectives of your enemies, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, my 20s, I was very hot-headed, but I didn't realize I was hot-headed because I had a lot of yes men as my friends. Not that they were just trying to be yes men, but they loved me so dearly that they couldn't see the craziness in me, because I really was reflecting them, because they had a lot of craziness in them. And so they wasn't calling me out on my stuff. They was like, girl, go get it. Let's go do this. So they wasn't correcting me. It was my haters. It was the people that hated me. It was the people that couldn't stand me. And they was like, you're a bitch, or you're this, or you're that. But see, I'm a person that always reflect on myself. And those was the ones that helped me the most, because they the ones that kept it real. So a lot of the time, your haters going to be the ones that be real with you. A lot of the times, your haters going to be the ones that's going to tell you the truth of what you really need to hear. And so we always looking at, oh, this person's so hated, this person's so jealous of me. Sometimes people not jealous of you, baby. Sometimes people just aggravated with your childish childishness. Sometimes people just like, you know what, nobody else been real enough to tell you, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Sabrina, your evolution has been a beautiful journey. Oh, thank you, Brittany. See, you knew, because Brittany, you know I was hot-headed. You know, I'm talking about, I was ready, had my bat in the car ready. And so, like, you know, we all evolve. But it wasn't my friends that really helped me to evolve, just to be honest with you. It was the people that didn't like me. And I'm not saying you got to go take what somebody's saying, oh, everything negative somebody said about me. No, but I do feel like you got to analyze yourself from different perspectives and really see how you're moving. Because there's a lot of people that move so messed up. They move so grimy, but they can't realize that they move grimy. They don't see it for themselves. They only see it for everybody else. There's a lot of people out here, they pretend they genuine and they really not, because they just have this fake sense of self, because they're not truly analyzing themselves. And so the first step to fixing a problem is admitting that you have one. And so when he was talking, a book that really helped me with being able to analyze from different perspectives is The Fifth Agreement. So we always talk about the fourth agreement, but the fifth agreement is so powerful. The fifth agreement literally helped shift my thinking. Like the fourth agreement did it too, but the fifth agreement, didn't you say the fifth agreement was your favorite?
Yeah, I just like the way it was written.
Yeah. And so the fifth agreement, it really, really did something to me. And then he also had the book of knowledge. What's his name? The author?
Don Miguel
Yeah.
Ruiz.
Powerful
Don
books,
Miguel
very
Ruiz.
easy. I'm talking about, you do not have to be the most intellectual person in the world in order to be able to comprehend what he's saying. And so I advise everybody to go read the Fifth Agreement. And when he was saying with changing how you're, remember you said the weak need to say, I am strong.
Yeah.
And it don't tell you to say the weak, say, oh, just go ahead and be real with yourself, homie. You ain't strong. No, it's saying say I am strong, because you have to speak it into existence. You have to trick your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind, it just takes everything that you're saying as facts. And so instead of saying I'm having a bad day, say I am having a character building day. Instead of saying, oh, I am broke, say, you know what, I am overcoming a cash flow problem. I'm overcoming it. I'm no longer identifying as it. Because if you go from saying I am broke to, oh man, I'm so rich, I'm a millionaire, you're not going to feel it. And so therefore, it's still going to be a blockage between you. And so you have to move your way up, but still don't say I am broke. Say, you know what, I am overcoming this cash flow problem. Yeah, yesterday I had a bad problem with being able to manage my money, but tomorrow I'm going to be wiser. Tomorrow I'm going to be better at it. And so you always fixing how you are saying it, changing how you are showing up in your life. A good person I like to listen to help me be able to reframe how I am thinking is Abraham Hicks. A million videos on YouTube. And so you got to always be making sure that you are intentionally listening to things that's going to program your subconscious mind, healthy thoughts, prosperous thoughts, abundant thoughts. You know, a lot of the times we're listening to things that make us victims. Most of the podcasts I hear is bad relationship advice, y'all. No wonder the relationships are failing. It's so much bad advice. Nobody telling you to communicate, to listen. It's always, let me tell you, oh, I'm a good woman. But my husband, he was like, by whose standards? You don't get to decide if you're a good woman. The man you're with, if he like, I'm not, even if you're not for him, but it's like you can't be the only one to decide that. It got to be we got to agree on this. They're just like him saying, oh well, I pay all the bills, that made me a good man. But my idea of a good man may not have anything to do with paying bills. So we have to know each other's love languages. And so there's a lot of toxic advice out there. And so you need to be making sure that you are listening to things that uplift you. If you're listening to something and it make you feel anxiety, if it make you feel mad, if it make you feel scared, it is not in alignment with your highest self. I'm not saying you don't listen to those things, because we have to be informed about what's going on in the world, but I'm saying that should not be the bulk of what you listen to. And so being on these calls, getting on YouTube and playing these calls back to back, having somebody, that's why I was saying about the what songs make you feel motivated. Play that song in the morning time to get yourself out of bed to motivate you. You have to put yourself in a position that you are motivating yourself to take action, that you are motivating yourself to do what's required of you, because every day is not going to be a good day. I don't care how many affirmations you speak or how positive you become, you are still going to be challenged. The difference between successful people and broke people is what they do when they are challenged. The difference between them is their mindset.
Facts.
LaQuisha says she loves it here, and we love you, Queen. And then we got Taisha, Blessed family. You know what, Tasha? I'm not even finna read this. You finna tell it to us yourself. Speak, Queen, speak.
You can't feel it, sir. I've been busy.
She'll be okay. We in this together. She ain't done.
She probably done.
I know you're just trying to ignore me because you don't want to say it, Taisha. And so I'm just saying. But 11, you want to go ahead and just announce your event real quick before we have to get off? Just in case there's some queens in the building that don't know about it. She probably can't hear.
Walk away.
She right there. 11.
That's her. You know, that's her picture.
Okay.
Yeah, this. Oh, she was looking at it. You're right.
Maybe she can't talk right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do we have any questions or any concerns? Is there anything that was said that make people want to? I mean, hold on. It's loud over here. Okay, I feel you, Queen. Yeah. We be forgetting she got 25 kids.
Yeah.
Yes. But so 11 is having a women's empowerment brunch this weekend, Sunday. And if you can come, 11, move your head down so they can see the flyer right quick, real quick.
Yeah.
Even if you just look at this flyer right quick, you know, like we saying, we like to support each other. If anybody else have any events or anything coming up, let us know. We want to support each other. We want to be here for each other. And so please get dressed up, y'all. Put y'all crowns on and get ready to come and love on some women. It's going to be some great food from another queen. Everything is all Black women. She even have like podcasters coming, people with interviews and stuff, all kinds of things. There's going to be a lot of beautiful things happening at this event. But anybody have any questions? No?
I don't have any questions, but you know, I always want to give you guys your flowers. I want to thank you guys. This class has been another mind shifting class, and it's so amazing because it's like a confirmation, you know, because it's like the classes, even with all the classes that we're having, it's like it's just bringing light to things that, you know, that God has already been bringing to my attention, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, it's shifting my belief system, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. Yes, grateful for you. That's why we do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, the Glens. I'll just say this really quickly. Thank you for an amazing call. I was challenged before the call. I was eating some shrimp and had an allergic reaction. I was like, nope, not happening. I'm taking this Benadryl and I'm present. So I'm just recovering from that. But thank you all for a wonderful, amazing class.
Beautiful, yes. Beautiful. Thank you for
sending you love, sending you healing energy. I can't wait to see you in the morning.
Question. What sparked your ideas?
What sparked my ideas?
Yeah, the ideas that you all right. What made you change? What gave you your shift? What pushed you into your next shift?
Well, I've had a couple in my life, but I read, you know, when I was young, I actually did a lot of reading early in life. I had two loves, that was music and just learning stuff. So early in life, I read autobiography of Malcolm X, and I just looked at stuff different. That was a shift for me. I had some early deaths. My brother died early in life, and that was a shift for me to, you know, look at, there had to be more to life than just the physical life. And then I had a child at 19, my oldest daughter, and she shifted me on the economic aspect. So I've had several different shifts, but I love Black people. I've always had a love for our people, and I've always wondered like why we were in the condition we're in and why this happened to us and things like that. And so it just took over my life. I went to the University of New Orleans and I didn't finish because I was going to be a teacher. And I was like, I can't teach this curriculum to people because it, you know, I was like, you know, I graduated when I was 17 and I was just like, this ain't the truth, man. I can't teach this to people. And it led me on an economic path because I became an entrepreneur, and I always wanted to create a way to help us in my way, you know, to educate us, but also economically empower us, show us about how we can have money and we can live good, because that's where we come from. So those are some of the things that just sparked me, and I've had a lot of different shifts in my life.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all for everything too.
Hey, man, we appreciate you being here. I mean, you know, you shifted me being here right now, to be honest. I'm telling you, like,
And I love how he challenged it.
yeah, and you know, and just the fact that you inquire, you know, that shows the type of person you are, that you're already on a certain level. So, you know, we just wanted to grow. We just want to be a vessel and help and build a bond with people and build a community. And like my wife was saying, we want to bring humanity together. So we want to bring men and women together. We don't want to argue and show all our differences. We want to show our similarities and how we can work together and build something. And we can create some generational wealth. Yeah. And keep coming, man. Keep jumping on these calls.
Please keep getting on.
Yeah, go, you know, subscribe to the YouTube. We got a lot of information. So happy to have you.
Yeah, I definitely think you'll find a lot of value in some of the last classes, but they're all on YouTube. Look at Kayla. Kayla, did we do a good job? We did. Thank you. What we need to do better? Because, you know, kids be knowing, what do we need to be so we can be the greatest at it? What we need to change? What we need to do?
You don't need to change anything.
Oh. Well, I'm saying, I know we did a good job now because Kayla said it. The boss is in the building.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So how would we buy into the packages? How will we buy into? I know there's like 2 other packages that you guys have for the lessons and the trainings. And there's 2, right?
Yeah, there's two other ones. Yeah, you got the free one and you have 2 other ones. Yeah.
Okay, and is there a link that we could go to purchase those?
It's on the website. I'm finna.
Okay.
So we got the Master Your Destiny package. Then we have the Master Your Universe, and we have Master Your Community.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And then for the ones that's in the Master Your Universe, just be a little patient. Chris is he's so critical of himself. And so like even how he have these spiritual classes together, he have started them, but he want to make sure they're perfect before he start putting them out. And I'm telling you, some of those classes will shock you. Some of those classes is going to ruffle your feathers, but I'm telling you, I know that's what you want, because if you're on this call, that means that you are already on a level above most people. Like the average stuff don't excite you. If you're able to actually sit on these calls, the spiritual class is going to really take you, it's going to do this. You might get angry because, you know, truth make you angry at first.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're not doing this to make you angry. It's to empower you. I'm telling you, the spiritual call is something else now. It's something else. And so if you ain't ready, you might as well just stay on these little safe calls. Oh, 11 said she ready, baby.
Well, yeah,
we know she ready, right? Oh, LaQuisha said she ready. She thinks she can handle it.
All right, well, we appreciate you guys.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What is the name of the author from the Book of Knowledge and the other book you were talking about?
It's Don, D-O-N, Miguel, M-I-G-U-E-L, Ruiz, R-U-I-Z. So Don Miguel Ruiz is a, of course, you can tell by his name, you know, what's called Hispanic, but he's actually of not the Aztec, but the Mayan, ancient Mayan culture. So he teaches
It's
spirituality
not the
in
question,
that
it's the,
aspect.
it's the thank you.
But you'll really like the book.
Yeah, he's famous for his book, The Four Agreements. And so the Four Agreements came before the Fifth Agreement. And so the Fifth Agreement is actually a book that he wrote with his son. And so, you know, like, you know how things change. And so as time went on, when his son became of consciousness, he helped him write the Fifth Agreement because he was like, oh, you know what, Dad? The next agreement is really going to put the icing on the cake for the other four agreements. But it's a great book because it's guaranteed that if you apply these agreements to your life, there's no way your life is not going to shift. And I'm talking about they so simple. Like most people think that they get the agreements just by reading the agreements, but those agreements is something you have to live, breathe. Like if you just reading it for a story, you're not gonna get it. But when you read it and you do your best to apply it, woo,
Yeah, it's powerful.
it's powerful.
Yeah,
And it's simple
It
stuff.
is powerful. I just started reading the Four Agreements.
okay. Yeah.
It's something else, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It takes us out of that victim mindset, you know, because
Yeah.
you think, oh, these people not conscious. Honestly, most people that you think coming for you, they're not even worried about you. They got their own stuff going on in their world. Most people don't care about you, just to be honest. Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all. We will see you next week.
Next week. Well, the women, we're gonna see each other Sunday. We're gonna be fine going to 11's event. Is that Shy? Hey, girl. What's up, girlfriend? I miss you. I can't wait to see you again. She's so beautiful.
All right, y'all.
Okay. Everybody have a great night. Good night, Kayla. Good night, Shy. Good night, my babies.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Of course.